Some days it just feels as though the bad guys are winning. But then again, good people have always felt that way. Many of the Psalms are pleas to God to right the wrongs and injustices that surround us in the world. Psalm 36 is one of these Psalms, but it doesn't end in despair. It ends with a ringing declaration of faith in God, who is ultimately sovereign over all things. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. The psalm begins with an insightful description of what it calls the wicked, those who actively oppose God. It reads, "Transgression speaks to the wicked deep in their hearts. There is no fear of God before their eyes. For they flatter themselves in their own eyes that their iniquity cannot be found out and hated. The words of their mouths are mischief and deceit. They have ceased to act wisely and do good. They plot mischief while on their beds. They are set on a way that is not good. They do not reject evil." So this is just a wonderful description, isn't it? It does not, however, dive too deeply into the specifics. It leaves each reader or hearer to fill in the blanks, fill in the details. The only problem with this is that people on different sides of any given issue can and do see each other in this sketch, even if they truly are not wicked. There is no single set of standards by which to judge who the wicked actually are here, and maybe that's a good thing. After all, only God is in a position ultimately to judge. Still, from the perspective of the writer, and by extension the reader and hearer as well, it paints a sufficiently vivid portrait to be recognizable. Notice one thing that is missing here, at least at this point. It doesn't come across so much as a plea to God as a description of reality, of part of the world as it simply is. In fact, what the psalmist does here is to set up a contrast between those the psalm calls the wicked and the righteous nature of God. The middle of the psalm proclaims God's surpassing goodness. It reads, "Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your judgments are like the great deep. You save humans and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. All people may take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light." Against the background of the character of the wicked, we now see God's goodness in sharp relief. God's righteousness is like the mountains, large and strong. God's judgments are as deep as God's righteousness is high. God is the very fountain of life, and in the final phrase, the psalmist speaks to God, but reminds us that in God's light, we see light. It's a way of saying that only with God's help do we see truth and goodness lit up in sharp relief. Without the light of God, the world is a murky and confusing place. But God helps us see things clearly. The psalm concludes with a plea for help, finally, something we would expect to see at the beginning. The psalmist writes, "O continue your steadfast love to those who know you, and your salvation to the upright of heart. Do not let the foot of the arrogant tread on me, or the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers lie prostrate. They are thrust down, unable to rise." This really is more than a plea, though. It's a declaration of faith. It is a declaration that God's will be done in the end. It is a declaration that in spite of all appearances, in spite of the fact that the bad guys often seem to win, it is not ultimately the wicked who will prevail in the end. There's a sweet old hymn you probably remember called "This Is My Father's World." The last stanza says it all. "This is my Father's world, Oh, let me ne'er forget that though the wrong seems oft so strong, God is the ruler yet. This is my Father's world, the battle is not done. Jesus who died shall be satisfied, and earth and heaven be won. Tomorrow, another cry for help, and a powerful, powerful word of hope. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.